Welcome to today's episode of the Love Truth Leadership Podcast, where we delve into the raw and real aspects of self-growth. In this episode, I'm opening up about my personal struggles with depression and migraines. These challenges have disrupted my miracle morning routine and affected my sleep, but there's a powerful lesson in this. I'm learning to recognize and conquer negative thoughts, proving that even in tough times, we can find inner strength. Remember, we all face hurdles, but we also possess the power to overcome them. Join Larry and I as we explore this journey of resilience and growth. Hi, I'm Nick.
I'm Larry.
Welcome back to LTL, everybody. So today we kind of have a loose subject. I want you guys to be aware that where I sit here and I talk about this positive change that needs to be made in everyone's life and this and that, I want you all to remember that I'm working on this actively too as I talk about it. As we've done all these episodes and everything, I'm still continuing to try to improve myself. And this is why I feel like this is an important meaning for me, or a purpose for me, is because I can actively take what I'm learning and share it with you. So that being said, I want you to know that I personally have been struggling with my self-improvement as of lately. I've been in a little bit of a depressed state. I've been neglecting to do my savers for the past week. And if you guys don't know what the savers are, that's silence. Yeah. Go ahead, Larry.
Oh, go ahead.
You know it better than I do.
Accusations.
Actualization. No, affirmations.
Affirmations.
Here, I'll run through it. So the Savers Miracle Morning Routine. Savers is silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing, or otherwise journaling, writing stuff down. And if you haven't had the chance to either read or listen to the Miracle Morning book, that's something that we suggest that you do. And actually, now that I'm talking to you about it, I'm going to go back through that book and I'm going to listen to it again. And it's something that whenever I was doing them, I noticed my days were improved. I was in a good mood. And as of late, I've had an external circumstance infecting my sleep pattern. So I've had, in the wintertime, I suffer from migraines. And I relate them to that. They're not serious enough to where they need to be diagnosed, I think, or figure out where they need to come from. And besides, our medical system would like to take a lot of money from me to figure out where they come from. So I'm just all right having them. But additionally, at the same time, they completely throw off my sleep pattern. So I wake up at anywhere between 2 to 3 in the morning, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, but that's on the average whenever I wake up. And I just have a blistering migraine. And, on average, they last about 20 minutes. They're not very long. It doesn't last a very long time. But at the same time, after having this migraine, I'm awake. I have a hard time getting back to sleep after having them. I sit there and feel like I should start my day at 3 a.m., which is sometimes unrealistic because I've only gone to bed at 11. So, I've had 4 hours of sleep. So that being said, it's something that is getting in the way of what I'm trying to achieve here, because after I am done having the migraine and I'm trying to get back to sleep, being so awake, I don't get back to sleep till 4 or 5 a.m. And then that puts my, wake up time at 8 instead of, 8 or 8:30 instead of, 6:30, 7, which, is one of those things where I should still have the drive to practice this morning miracle routine, but I'm in this mind state where right now where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to stay on top of myself. I'm trying to, tell myself that, like in that book, Unf Yourself, I'm steering a ocean liner, as opposed to steering a canoe. And so it's one of those things where trying to get past that whole thing and remember that my change is not going to just happen overnight. It's not going to happen where I've seen gradual change in the past 6 months. It's not going to be a significant like snap of the magic wand and I'm instantly changed overnight and my thought patterns are going to be completely different from what they have been my whole life. So it's been difficult, and I'm here to share that with you guys and let you know that there is struggles in this and that I'm going through it 100%. And I can sit here and talk to you and give you this perception that, I'm on this ultimate journey and this and that, but me personally, I'm still having struggles.
Yeah, I get that too. Sometimes I relapse, and then I have to go to journaling to kind of reset my thinking.
Yeah.
That's personally what helps for me. I journal the problem, and I ask a lot of questions, and then sometimes I journal some solutions. At least it gets my mind refocused.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here at this point where it's like, man, the depression is getting in my way. I feel like it's getting to where I'm sitting here, like, as much as I know it's worth it, the in the background of my mind, it's going like, oh, well, is it really worth it? That's my depression talking. And is this change really gonna, make a significance in your life? And what are you expecting to see out of this change and this and that and dealing with the fact that still feeling like my time is late. I'm sitting here like I'm 40 years old and what is this change going to make a difference now? What's the point? And ultimately what I want to have for myself is it at 40, is it really worth it to even still continue to strive to want this stuff? And it's like, well, yeah, it's I still have another 40 years to go, hopefully. Right. So
keep telling yourself the second half will be better.
Yeah. And, I think the number one thing that really beats me up is the fact that, like, okay, well, how come I didn't have these tools whenever I was 20? And that's where I'm trying to bring my purpose into it, is like giving the 20-year-olds these tools, letting them know that this is something that's possible. So that gives me hope. The fact that while I'm continuing to try to strive for change in myself, I can at least hopefully teach somebody else the change as well, and the processes of these changes. And so did a little bit of researching, and Larry, jump in at any time.
I was just going to say, weeks ago I saw a little video about a person struggling, and so what he did is he wrote 50 things a day that he was grateful for, not just a couple.
Yeah.
To help him realign his thinking.
Yeah. So
I did that. I don't think I told you that yet.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago I did it every day. I wrote 50 things, and I didn't repeat myself. That was the challenge.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that was 500 things.
Yeah. Which is a big deal.
And that really helped me rethink some things.
Yeah. And that, I want to take note real quick and let the audience know Larry's practiced at writing those things. Maybe that's a little bit of a challenge to do if you're just starting out with gratitude, because it's something that I think I would struggle to find 50 things a day. And to make them all different every day too.
Yeah, it was it was a challenge. This guy did it, and I thought, man, if you're in a slump or something, I just wanted to see how it would work. And it helped me see things a little bit differently. And it definitely took a few minutes, but hey, it was worth it.
Because like whenever I was doing my journaling, and which I need to get back into doing, and I'm gonna make a vow right now to get back into it. But whenever I was doing it, in 4 minutes, I was getting about 20 to 25 things. Now, granted, I was being grateful for the same things, every day, repeating the things that I was grateful for, which I feel like is okay to have that as well. So if you guys are struggling, trying to find, if you want to take on that challenge of writing 50 things a day, say maybe make it to where, be lenient on yourself. If you can't find something that you don't want to, or that, let me rephrase that. If you need to repeat the things that you're grateful for, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that's okay. But I took different areas of life. I look back, what special events was I grateful for? What about special relationships?
Okay.
I went back to my school years, talking about what were some things that were meaningful, and I said, I'm thankful for that. About teachers that had influence on me, certain people, physical, spiritual, all those different elements that affected my life. And so I started expanding.
Okay, so looking at it that way, I could see how it could be definitely acquirable. That's for sure. If you can divide your life up and say, okay, in school, what could I be thankful for? In work, what can I be thankful for? In my spirituality, what can I be thankful for? And my lifestyle, all that kind of stuff. If you divide it all up.
Yeah, and that would help expand it more.
Yeah.
So I wrote categories down, and then I said, okay, what things can I feel grateful for in those different categories?
Okay. So that seems a lot more achievable to me, for sure. When I practice my gratitude, I try to remind myself that I'm grateful for myself. I feel like we are, as a whole society, we're really hard on ourselves. We live in a lot of comparison with social media and all kinds of stuff. And social media, because I realized that I had a problem. I have a problem with social media, as I'm sure a lot of us do, where I was getting up, and first thing I was doing was getting onto Instagram and looking at my phone for, what I thought was 15, 20 minutes. Now, I want you to listen to this, Larry. I took, and with my phone, I can set a timer on how much I can spend on social media. And I just did this week. I set the timer up to where I'm only allowed 30 minutes a day on social media. I was done with that 30 minutes before I got dressed.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there. The timer said you have 5 minutes left. And I'm like, no way. There's no way that I've been doing this for 25 minutes already.
It can hijack your mind. Years ago, I was getting on TikTok because I like the high adrenaline, extreme sports stuff that people do.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, it's an hour and a half has gone by. I go, what the?
Yeah.
And
I was astounded. It's like, man, I haven't even gotten into the shower yet to get my day. And I was like, okay, so no wonder I'm having a hard time getting my savers done. I'm sitting here for 25 minutes on social media. So I'm gonna actually, after we're done recording, I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes.
Well, what I've done is sometimes the most difficult habits I'm trying to do is I try to get that done first in the day.
Yeah.
Then I don't, and so I do that habit stacking that James Clear talks about in the Atomic Habit. And so when I'm trying to add a new habit, I just stack it on the ones. So I do the savers very first thing before anything else.
Yeah.
It kind of sets the tone.
Yeah.
And then if you want a reward with social media or That's what you want.
That's the thing. I need to start
use
it as a reward.
But if that's what you want to do, but I get those done in the morning, in the meditation and the prayer, and I read.
So that's one thing I'm proud about myself is I still have found time, an extra 15 minutes, before I should say my day begins at work to get that meditation in, which is still, I feel like, a big deal for me because my brain is quite talkative. It's a very loud organism. It is something that is very thoughtful. It thinks a lot. It ruminates a lot. And something that meditation has really helped me keep that away and learn to accept that my thoughts are just things that are visiting me. I'm not visiting my thoughts. Does that make sense?
Right.
Something that, to approach my thoughts with, compassion, recognize them, and then let them go. Let them pass on their day or let them pass on their way so I can continue my day and not keep thinking on things. And whenever we first started talking, I had a problem with rumination.
I think we all do. We ruminate and then we beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
And then we got to say, hey, what can I do to get out of this spiral,
Yeah.
And we got to be more compassionate on ourselves.
100%.
Oh, my God. And that self-talk can be so damaging. So I think I told you earlier, sometimes I'll just start singing a more uplifting song. If I have a self-talk, I just want to break the pattern.
Yeah. What I started doing was telling myself I love myself. And I'll repeat it 10 times. Whenever I start sitting there thinking, and I recognize, that's the other thing that meditation has really brought into me is the ability to recognize my thoughts and not just let them,
control you
or, take me hostage. And so I've been, whenever I have, that ruminating thought, whenever I think about like my most recent relationship that I live in regret in and this kind of thing, or that I miss and stuff like that, I sit there and recognize that thought, give it the compassion, let it pass on its way. And then immediately I'm like, Nick, I love you, man. Hey, I love you, Nick. And just keep repeating that. and then it goes away. And one thing that really stuck out with me is, and that I notice that I do, is I like to, and I have a hard time admitting this, but I like to judge people. And I don't know where I saw this. It might have been on social media, but it said that if you ever notice yourself judging other people, it's because you're judging yourself. And that really stuck with me. It's like, okay, wow. So if you have the ability, and I've noticed this, if you have the ability to wish people well, and then that'll take your judgment away from them. And so that's the other thing that I've been practicing a lot lately. I haven't been practicing, like I said, I haven't been practicing my savers, but I've been practicing my active thinking throughout the day, which I think is something, if I can take away something from the past 6 months and be able to sit there and realize, okay, like I'm steering this giant ship and it's taking a long time for it to turn. But look, I've been able to recognize my active thoughts throughout the day. I mean, we have anywhere between 6,000 to 50,000 thoughts a day. Which,
quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a lot. And they might be small, insignificant thoughts, something pertaining to work, or there might be thoughts about the person that you're helping. The range of these thoughts are astounding. And if you can recognize 10% of them and see at least the negative ones that you're having. And that's what if I can take anything away, I'm able to recognize my negative thoughts.
Well, I think awareness is the first thing to change.
Yeah. So at least I can't be where I've been beating myself up and like, man, this isn't happening fast enough. What steps have you, like, where are you going with this and blah, blah. And this actually just dawned on me as I'm talking to you guys, is like, at least I can recognize my negative thoughts through the day now.
Yeah, where before people just living in and they don't.
Oh, I was living in them.
And they get in a rut and they can't get out.
Yeah, I was living in them 100%.
I think I kind of like to think the savers is equivalent to mental fitness, like physical fitness.
Oh, yeah.
And if you stop exercising, what happens to your muscles?
Oh, they deteriorate. Yeah.
Well, it's the same with the mental.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're getting it, I think when people back off the savers, then they're more acceptable to get weaker to their past thought.
And I didn't think about this till just now whenever you started bringing that up. And again, I don't remember where I heard this, but it was if you have, so say you work out for, 3 months and you increase your physical strength by 30%, and then you take 1 month off.
back to ground zero, man.
You take okay, so
so maybe that's just what happened to you, Nick. You took a week off, and now you're, oh crap, now I got to get back out.
Yeah,
right.
And this is I'm gonna publicly make this dedication, and I am gonna get back into it. I'm gonna start my savers again. Headache or not, if I have a headache at 3 a.m., I'm staying awake. There's no point.
Well, you might as well do something more proactive.
Yeah.
You might as well work on your savers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And figure out things to do, for shoot 3 a.m. I don't have to be at work till 10. That's 7 hours of being awake before my day even, I would say, begins. And all right, there it is.
There it is. You could get all your savers done, and you go, you know what? I could sleep in now because I did my savers.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I don't think I'd want to go back to bed afterwards. I think I'm going to get on that new trainer I just got and exercise for 4, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. So
we should tell our audience out there, part of the thing that we found on exercise, at least everything I've read, is at least 20 minutes in some type of aerobic activity.
Yeah, day. Yeah.
Get the heart going. You can do more than that, but they're saying at least 20 minutes.
Yeah. And that's something that I've been neglecting with. I love bike riding, and
well, today at -8 would be a little nippy.
Yeah, but I'm fortunate enough to work in the field that of something that I love. And so I get a little bit of bonuses from that, and stuff. So I was able to get a smart trainer, and that is something that I am actually very excited to have, because that's going to be able to, get me back into it and get me back into shape and have that, ability to go ride 100 miles once a week and that kind of stuff like I used to do. And that's something that I've been neglecting doing for a while. And we get into these, especially me, I get into where I have 3 hobbies that I like, and one of them is not a healthy hobby. It could be healthy if I approached it like that, but I'm not a 15, 20 minute kind of guy. I'm talking about video games. And if I'm going to play a video game, I'm playing that video game for hours. And next thing you know, my whole Sunday is gone. And so I'm going to turn that energy and hopefully have it back into my cycling.
Put it back into cycling.
Yeah. So we looked up a few things before we started this morning. Like I said,
we should mention here that one of Nick's favorite things is checking ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Actually, they got some pretty good insight on stuff there.
Yeah, ChatGPT is a time saver for one. It's like having a second brain. It's a big research tool. That's for sure. Now, anytime you use it, make sure that you're, just doing a little bit of cross-referencing. But normally what I find with ChatGPT, with what it comes up with, is pretty accurate. So Larry and I did a little bit of research this morning about creating more self-love and not dwelling on the past. And so, and just reading these before we started, I could already tell you there was no need for me to really do any cross-referencing of what ChatGPT came up with. So creating more self-love and not dwelling on the past involves a combination of mindset shifts, self-care practices, and perhaps seeking external support if needed, which I'm Larry again. Thank you for allowing me to seek you out for external self support.
My pleasure.
So I came up with a few strategies. Practice self-compassion. Recognize that everybody makes mistakes. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a good friend. Mindfulness and meditation. Engage in mindfulness exercises or meditation. These practices can help you stay present and reduce negative self-talk. Positive affirmations. Use positive affirmations to reinforce your self-worth and combat negative thoughts about yourself. Reflect and learn. Acknowledge past mistakes as opportunities for learning and growth, rather than reasons for self-criticism. Self-care. Engage in activities that nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. So that exercise, the savers. Set achievable goals. Focus on setting and achieving small, manageable goals to build self-confidence and a sense of accomplishment. Seek support. Sometimes talking to friends, family, or professional can provide perspectives and help in processing past events. Journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can be a therapeutic way to process emotions and gain clarity. Limit social comparison, and I think that's a big one for all of us today, because we all have this social media aspect that we get to use and hopefully not abuse. Limiting social comparison. Avoid comparing your journey with others. Everyone's path is unique. And the one that I struggle with the most is forgive yourself. Actively work on forgiving yourself. It's a crucial step in moving forward and cultivating self-love. And the number one thing we need to remember is this process is going to take time. And be patient and gentle with yourself along the way. Don't beat yourself up for the amount of time that it's taking at all. And I feel like that's where I've been set off in the past week, is that I'm not being patient with myself. I'm not recognizing that this whole thing is taking time. I'm not recognizing the small steps that I've made. And while I've recognized them in this episode, I'm not present with them. And that's something that I need to practice more, is my presence with myself, and realizing that what I'm going through is not an easy process. It's something that is going to take a long time, and that I need to realize that it's all worth it. No matter how late I feel like I am to the court with this, I need to realize that what I'm doing and the steps that I'm taking are all 100% worth it. Anything you have to add to that, Larry?
No, I was just going to give a quote from Shawshank Redemption. Remember, Andy, he in a letter to Red?
Yeah.
And he talks about, he says, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and any good thing never dies. So what I'm saying is this hope and this podcast is to instill hope in others that things can get better.
Yeah.
It just takes time. And just remember to be compassionate, not on yourself, but with others.
Oh, yeah.
And if you do both, things will work out for you.
Yeah, for sure. And just remembering that we, might all have these little things that we need to change, the things that we do that we're not proud of. And some of you might be able to get it done quickly and stay on top of yourself. And some of you might struggle with it. And if you're struggling with it, it's okay. As long as you're present with yourself and you're trying to make these steps towards a positive, you're making something happen. And that's no small feat.
Well, do what we do between each other. I think the people listening is get an action partner. Get someone that you can be accountable to help you work and do some things that you want to try to achieve.
Yeah, and if you guys ever need somebody to reach out to, Larry and I are both here for you. Our email is lovetruthleadership.podcast@gmail.com. definitely get back to you and let you know, we're here for you to support you. I'm here to support you because it helps reinforce what I'm going through. And that's something that if you guys are going through the same thing and you find somebody that you can help, remember, helping somebody else is going to reinforce what you're going through and bring it to life, and bring it to give you some kind of purpose with your change in yourself.
Yep.
100%. So I'm Nick.
I'm Larry.
And this is LTL. Thank you for listening.
Have a grateful day.
There we go. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Love Truth Leadership. It's been a real journey sharing my struggles and insights with you. Join us next time as we continue this conversation. I'll be sharing the positive shifts I've experienced to improve mood, better self-care, and recognizing life's changes. It's about celebrating growth and the small victories along the way. So stay tuned for an uplifting episode about transformation and resilience. Remember, leadership is not just a title, but the profound expression of the love and truth we bring to the world. As always, Larry and I greatly appreciate you listening.